How do I even start about talking about this one?
I don't
okay,
even,
so this one's
I
1989.
don't even know how
This is a Japanese movie,
to go
1989,
about this one.
called Battle Heater, which is a Kotatsu, I think is how you say it. A Kotatsu comes alive and kills people. And I didn't know what the heck a Kotatsu was.
Neither did I.
So I looked it up and found out it's a table that you put like a comforter over, and it has a heater underneath, and you sit underneath it because apparently Japanese households aren't very well insulated, so people still use these apparently. And it seems really dangerous, but apparently it's really not that dangerous. The idea of putting a comforter over a heater seems kind of dangerous to me. But
it does.
And sitting right underneath it.
But I might say fairly efficient, you know?
But that makes a really interesting horror villain.
It does. And and the thing is you know, when it comes to like finding inanimate objects to your horror paradigm with inanimate objects, I have seen beds and tires and
I haven't seen the tires yet, but that sounds interesting.
Beds, tires. I'm trying to think of the great microwaves.
Jeans. Don't forget about jeans.
Microwave, jeans. You know, the cars.
Puppets.
Puppets. There's toys. There has been an awful lot of them out there, of which.
Some would argue that some actors are like inanimate objects.
Well,
I won't mention any names.
very, very obvious. But this one, oh my God, you know that this
had a lot going on.
This heater. Well, for one thing,
where do you start with this? And that's so. It was
where
like
do you start? Because there were. You know what the thing is as I think of it, there were so many different things going on in this. It basically happens in a small, maybe 2 or 3 story apartment kind of complex. You know, maybe
it's very David Lynch-like apartment complex.
Yeah, and
there's a lot of satire in this, which I think I missed most of it because if I was Japanese, I might have caught more. But there was definitely a lot of satire, which I was shocked by.
But not only satire, there's I mean, whoever did this somehow has incorporated a million different films, bits and pieces of films in it, so much so that they were just reeling through my head. I said, "Oh, well, this is like a David Lynch film. Oh, this is like a Steven Spielberg film. Oh, this is like a Tobe Hooper film."
Well, it's like they just threw everything they could at the wall. I mean, because it was sensory overload. It was way too much. I was overwhelmed at some points.
You had a rock band you had a rock band and 2 old people that you know supposedly had killed themselves peacefully and
I think they just knocked themselves out or something.
And they were bragging to each other that they had never brought dishonor to.
We have never bothered anybody in this whole building.
We've never bothered anybody in this unit.
Don't worry, the soldering iron will be returned.
Yeah, in the meantime they're returning the soldering iron and they had a guy that was doing repairs, doing electrical repairs.
Well, that was one of my favorite scenes. The electrical guy that he was the partner with the other guy,
right?
And they would go out and find stuff and fix it, I guess.
Right,
but my favorite part is when he's in that room and he's trying to fix the TV, and it goes poof.
It goes poof.
And he turns around and
he turns around and goes and he prays to the god.
It was like a Buddhist cabinet, and it's a god of electricity. But that was
so cool.
That was the best scene, I think.
Oh, it was, but boy, there were just so many scenes in there that were great. They had a party.
I don't know if I call that a party.
I don't know if it was.
There's a lot of crying and screaming.
Yeah. Well, who was the crying and screaming is related to something else? Oh,
well, the
teacher was leaving.
The teacher was leaving, so they were upset about it.
Right. All these women were upset about the teacher leaving, and they come to the party, but the party
what's
was
weird
only set up for one girl. And
we're not making any sense because what's weird is the storyline actually made sense. but there's so much going on. I mean, what? How did this?
Thousands. There were
I only have two
thousands
questions.
storylines going on.
Well, I have two questions. First of all, how did this get made? Second of all, who was the target audience? Who were they trying to reach?
Well, it was so weird. I mean,
it was very psychedelic, and it was seemed out of place for 1989. I don't know.
It kind of and it also had like there was such an obvious connection to like Naked Lunch, the movie Naked Lunch, the Burroughs book. There were because it had absolutely no problem with tripping out at any given point, and just going into like some incredible fantasy. But my wife kept going to me. She says, "Are you following any of this?" And I go, the scary thing is, I think I really am.
I was following the storyline, but I got lost in some things.
I was following 5 storylines. I mean, really, there were like at least 5 storylines.
It was like they're all going different directions. It was like 5 different people wrote something, smashed it together.
And the thing is every once in a while they're the thing here's the thing. You have 5 storylines, they're all going in different directions, and they were all interspersed by the sheer terror of a heater that turns.
It's not a normal heater though. It's a table heater.
It starts munching people and pulling and.
Did that remind you of anything? The creature when they showed it like opening up? Did it remind you of any movies?
Well, yeah. What I thought was really funny though. And one of my favorite parts was the guy that they had cut in half. Forgot about that, didn't you?
I thought that was my favorite thing, the guy in the bucket.
The guy in the bucket. There was a guy in a bucket, right? And every once in a while he completely shifts and they go, "Oh my God."
I like how he kept getting a little shorter.
Yeah.
At the end he was like chest.
It was hilarious.
What was going on? See, that was confusing. It was like these 2 people trying to figure out how to get rid of this guy.
Right, and okay, so this sounds like this because that film is like that.
Yes.
There are so many things going on, and the great thing about it is that it really wasn't very hard to follow all the different things that were going on, and and the thing is it was all interspersed by the sheer terror of the table, right?
Yeah, it was but it was like total chaos at some point, and but it's kind of like Little Shop of Horrors, but it makes Little Shop of Horrors look like just a straightforward drama, like a boring movie. This is just ridiculous.
There was also like an element of like Scott Pilgrim Saves the World in it. That kind of sort of flippy. Kind of a line is delivered and then they're off to another place that you don't understand, right?
Actually, one thing about this is there wasn't many lines, which is great.
There was like no dialogue in it. It was just really, really brief. And the thing is they told the story so they told all 6 stories really so well that you could follow the whole freaking thing. And I know that it sounds chaotic.
Did it sound like it dragged on? Did you feel like it dragged on too long, especially with the party scene?
I did feel that.
This also reminded me of Peter Jackson. Bad.
Dead Again.
Well, they're in the house and it's like.
Yeah, right. Brain Dead.
Yeah, Brain Dead.
Yeah. No, it had it's and a lot of it, and it was moving so fast. It's funny that when you said long, this has got the same problem to me. What's the one? Everywhere, everything, all at once. Everywhere, everything, all at once. Right? Have you seen that?
No.
Okay. To me, that film had a problem with being a little bit too going at you at such a speed that in the middle it exhausts your brain. There's something about this that did exhaust my brain in the middle, and then and it's funny and then when I finally said to myself, I just want to see this end. It started to try and wrap everything up, and it took the second half of the movie just to wrap it up. I mean, it took time to put everything back together.
I think I had the same problem. Plus, I was sitting there reading subtitles too. I was like, well, I'm going to try to read the subtitles.
Yeah. You know what? I got to the point to where I wasn't even trying to read the subtitles because it didn't seem to even vaguely affect what was going on the screen.
No, not really.
Not really. But you know what? I loved it. I really did. It's interesting that, for these last couple of weeks, we picked a couple of films that were based on inanimate objects. and one that was good and one that was pretty bad. But this is the good one, and I liked it.
And what's weird is we've agreed too, so...
You have to see this film. That's
I think it's worth it.
Thing.
If you like really bizarre stuff.
Oh yeah,
I don't know even know how to explain it. Like if you like really weird things.
And here's the thing: we have done a great job of explaining it, and we sound like a couple of baboons on coke. Well,
I still don't know what it's about, but I mean, other than the heater. It's a metaphor for I don't know, for virginity.
For something. It's a metaphor for something. You know what? I sort of got. Even as I sit now, I cannot for the life of me remember. Oh, yeah, the most hilarious thing is how they killed it in the end. Is they just turned it upside down. Now that is just brilliant, right? Yeah, right. It's like just, right, and then
actually, the electrician. He had a really cool suit that he made with that was pretty creative.
Oh,
with the pipes and everything.
RoboCop. That was the other thing. Because the shot that they did going down the hall with him coming down the hall in that outfit that he put together absolutely looked like the first shot that you saw of RoboCop, right?
It also reminded me a little of a Saturn III though, with all the tubes. The vacuum tubes.
You know what?
Which is an amazing
movie. You don't
movie.
get to bring that up.
If you like sci-fi, check out.
You don't get to bring up
Saturn III. Harvey Keitel.
No. Does not exist. It's not true. It's not true.
That was a good movie. I still stand by that.
Stop it. Oh.
In fact, I might go watch it now.
It's so trash.
Jane Fonda. I'm so fond of Jane Fonda. I'm gonna watch the show again.
This one, I'm giving a 3.9. I love it. You should love it. Anybody would love it.
Why stop at 3.9? I was gonna do just a solid 4.
Okay, let's. You know what? He's right.
But I say that, and I'm not sure. I'm not convinced I'd watch it again because it might be too much to try to watch again.
No, it's exhausting. But you know what? There are things out there that you have to watch once.
I am gonna check out some more stuff by this director though. See what's going on. This was his second movie.
Oh, was it?
Only 3 people reviewed this movie on IMDb. It looks like.
Really? I'm gonna post this sucker and see if I can bring it up.
We should review on it. I mean, we should put our review on there.
Yeah.
Boom.
Yeah. Let's do that. Okay.
So yeah, don't watch the one we watched last week.
Yeah, don't watch that.
Forget
watch
about that
this.
one. Battle
watch
Heater,
this, and then get back to us and let us know what you think because this is not the normal one. This is not the run-of-the-mill film.
And it's also a learning experience because you learn what a kotatsu is.
Kotatsu. That's right.
Which I still don't understand what it is.
And I'm not kidding. After a while, you get to thinking to yourself, you know what? This is practically like another country.
Well, I can't believe they still use these things, these heaters. But I read the whole history of kotatsus. I was reading all about when they started using them, how they've evolved over time. Different materials are used to make them now. They're a little safer, but they tell children not to sleep under them because you can catch a cold because basically they don't want them to burn up and die. Right, and then sometimes cats sleep under them, but it's a safe appliance supposedly. It doesn't seem safe to me. You put a blanket over a heater?
Well.
Okay, anyway. Okay, I don't know what's in for next week, but I don't think it's going to compare to this one. But I think we've done a good job trying to explain it.
This was a whacked out week. I got to tell you, a whacked out week.
I think we tried to explain it, but...
You know what? The best that you could do sound like the pure chaos that it is, right?
Pretty much.
What are you gonna do, right?
And it had some good actors. I was actually reading about some of the actors. Some of them are from, actually at least two of them are from Godzilla movies, so you might recognize some of them. The electrician was one that was from a Godzilla movie. I can't remember his name.
Yeah, I actually recognize him. Yeah.
And then I think one of the friend of the crazy guy with the thing on his forehead. I think his friend was in Godzilla too.
Him we've seen actually quite often, right?
And the band. We didn't even talk about the band, but I actually kind of liked that punk band. They were so strange.
So strange.
Anyway, I'm done talking about them.
Okay. Bye, guys.
Bye.
I'm out of here.